Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've cracked the code for what the update cycle is going to look like for this Across the Spider-Verse update list. This is going to get heavy into speculation, but stay in your chairs because this one's going to get pretty crazy, and it's essentially a blueprint of the last update. So all we have to do is look back at the Guardians of the Galaxy update and see how they planned out and how they wanted to release 3 tier 4s and how they're going to do it again this time on us. So big shout out to Gravity Punch, who basically is the entire reason for this video. He came up with this, he pointed this out, and made it abundantly clear that there's a very good chance this is what could happen. Now, as you know, the update's been out for a day already. We have Miles Morales tier 4 in the game now. We have Miguel tier 3, but we know that there's going to be at least one more tier 4. Now, if we go and look back on the Guardians of the Galaxy update, there was actually 2 more tier 4s after Star-Lord. And we know that because we later got Gamora, and then a little bit after that, we got Adam Warlock. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Star-Lord is the same typing as Adam Warlock. They're both Blast. So what the devs decided to do, rather than go back-to-back with the same typing, is they released Gamora in the middle, and they extended the update by an extra week. Now, extending the updates by an extra week is not a new thing. It's something they actually have to do every single year because there's only 10 updates allocated for the 12-month cycle. And 10 with 12 leaves you with some odd numbers in between and some sort of missing weeks. So they have to add in some additional updates and sort of extend those mid-months here and there to make up for those last 2 months where there isn't a true full update planned. So they did that this time for the anniversary by choosing to release Gamora and then, of course, choosing to release Adam Warlock a little bit later. And if you take a look at the pattern of typing, it went Blast, Speed, Blast. Very, very interesting. They wanted to use Gamora as a buffer so that the whales even would have a chance to catch up on their blast books between Star-Lord and Adam. Well, who are 2 speed types featured prominently in Across the Spider-Verse? Miles Morales, of course, who just got his tier 4, and his love interest slash other main protagonist, Spider-Gwen, right? So they're going to give her a tier 4. It's pretty obvious, or we sort of think it's obvious based on the pattern. However, those are 2 speed types, so they're going to have to put someone in the middle who's not a speed type. Now, there are a couple of options from the update itself that work, like Spider-Woman. However, it's unlikely to feature 3 characters from the same update with massive upgrades like this, just because, you know, it is a little bit too much to put on, and not all of these characters are really that popular in the grand scheme of things. So what if they put in some other characters who are really popular but have nothing to do with the update? And then we come in to, and that's where we lead off onto the data mine. So the data mine was posted a day ago, and it lists the following 3 uniforms as in the game files. Spider-Gwen for Across the Spider-Verse. So that's a huge, you know, green flag, I guess you'd call it, not a red flag, that she's getting a bigger upgrade than just a uniform, i.e. a tier 4. But then you also have, very bizarrely, Sabretooth and Wolverine. Now, Wolverine, Deaths of Wolverine, looks really cool. It looks like Warlock has infected him. I haven't kept up with the comics, so I don't know what exactly it's about, but it looks really, really dope. He has lots of different looks because he keeps dying and he keeps going through these different phases or different sort of, I don't know, timelines, lives, whatever, realities. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but it looks really cool, and he's got a lot of really cool looks. Sabretooth, on the other hand, doesn't look so cool, but if you remember, this was actually data mined months ago, and I made an update for Valentine's, or I was thinking that they might do a Valentine's update with Sabretooth and Wolverine. That didn't come to fruition, but that was the devs sort of laying the foundations, the building blocks for what would eventually be this update. So now, again, you're going to need a little bit of imagination here, a lot of speculation. What if this was their plan all along? Release Miles Morales tier 4, boom, he gets dropped in, amazing, right? Everybody's hype, and then everyone's probably expecting Spider-Gwen, but that's 2 speed types back to back. They can't do that. So what do? They drop a mid-month with Wolverine and Sabretooth, and you're like, huh? And it's a mutant mid-month. They're like, oh, snap, okay. Wolverine gets a tier 4, everybody's super hyped because everybody loves Wolverine. Okay, sick. It's a combat tier 4, so it's not a speed type. It's also been a while since they released a combat tier 4, let's be real. And then they do a second mid-month, again, to extend the updates so that they can cover the 2 months where they don't have full updates planned. And then they tier 4 Spider-Gwen. Boom! This makes so much sense. And it's exactly the same pattern that they just showed us they wanted to do with Star-Lord, and then Gamora, and then Adam Warlock. And it makes perfect sense because it fits exactly in with what's been data mined. Now, again, I know what I said about Spider-Woman not being the one in the middle doesn't make sense because she's really not that popular. On the other hand, if you take a look at the Guardians update, all 3 of the tier 4s were from the update itself. The only difference here is Gamora is a much more popular character than Spider-Woman in every sense of the word, right? Gamora's been in the game a lot longer. Gamora's been featured in many more movies, right? Spider-Woman has only been featured in animated movies thus far. So I find it kind of unlikely that she'll get a tier 4, but it's absolutely possible. It's absolutely possible. It hasn't been data mined. There hasn't been any indication of it whatsoever, but they did put a lot of work into Spider-Woman's kit, and it does look really good. So it is a possibility, and it would also fit the theme of having some of the tier 3s or some of the tier 4s being tier 3s and some of the tier 4s being transcended. We can see that there's obviously a balance that the devs want to maintain, where Star-Lord and Adam were both tier 3 tier 4s, but Gamora was a transcended tier 4. So yeah, this speculation obviously hinges heavily on seeing Wolverine and Sabretooth. If they're absolutely going to come out, then 100% that this speculation is going to end up being true. However, if it's not going to be Wolverine and Sabretooth this time around, if they're maybe just putting these ideas and sort of putting this data into the game for a later update, maybe they're planning like a July mutant update or an August mutant update, then of course this speculation absolutely falls apart. Another thing that you can sort of lean on though, and sort of tells you maybe where the devs want to go as far as a direction, you can take a look at the world boss requirements for Kang. So we just got Kang, and his requirements were data mined. So if you take a look at the requirements for Kang, again, shout outs to ThanosVibs.money for having this up so quickly. You can see that there's a lot of mutant stages. More mutant stages than we're actually used to. So you can see here 70 to 74, we have a male mutant stage. 40 to 44, we have another mutant stage. And then 95 to 99, it's covered by my space theme there, but you have another mutant stage. So 3 mutant requirements in one World Boss Legend is a lot. It's the most we've ever seen, right? Usually World Boss Legend stages have 1, 2 max. So having 3 definitely means they're going to be focusing more on mutants in the coming months, and you can obviously speculate on which mutants will be there, but they're going to have to upgrade a lot of mutants, right? Right now, most of the mutants we have in the game, Professor X, Magneto, Storm, they're all paywall uniforms, right? They're all those seasonal uniforms that you cannot get day to day, besides Namor and Jean. So they're going to have to really step it up with more mutants to cover the rest of these restrictions, especially since some of them are restrictions, like Speed Mutant. We don't have any Speed Mutants at all right now that could even come close to doing World Boss Legend at a high stage. So it'll be very interesting to see. They're also requiring you to have, well, you don't have to, you can skip these requirements, but Professor X there, and then Kitty Pryde down here at the bottom. So something is definitely cooking at Netmarble as far as these updates go. It's going to be very interesting to see where this, ends up leading, but I think Gravity's idea of this update mirroring the cycle of the last update, and basically the last update being a blueprint for this update, it just fits so well. It fits so well. And as Gravity Punch put it himself, I'll just quote him because his words are better than mine here. Gamora felt like a placeholder, or a place to really take a breath in between Adam and Star-Lord as far as the books go and as far as the typing goes. Wolverine would act as that same breath / placeholder to tide fans over between Miles and Spider-Gwen. And honestly, I want to tier 4 both of them so I can kind of appreciate this strategy. Like, it absolutely works. It absolutely works. So yeah, thanks so much for Gravity Punch for pointing this out to everybody. Hit me up in the comments down below and let me know what you think of this. I love the speculation videos. Are they back for good, or is this a one-time thing? You let me know down below in the comments. Thanks for watching. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.